My biggest performing posts on LinkedIn are all selfies or photos of me doing something mainly not related to the business.
What do you think is missing in marketing right now? What do you think people could be doing, should be doing, that they're maybe not doing?
The thing they are missing in marketing is consistency, which I think can be really, really key.
How consistently should someone be writing a blog on a website?
So we say it's really good if you can do it once a month as a minimum.
Do people need video on their website?
I really hate it when I go to a website and on the homepage I see that this person's got a video and I can see it's them, they're going to be talking to camera. It's not well scripted, or maybe not even scripted at all, not well thought through. They don't seem confident. And then you're going, why have you put this on your homepage? Because this is doing nothing for you or your business.
Did you know that 93% of you are not subscribed? So if you could please do me a favor and you're enjoying the show, then subscribing would mean the world to me, and it would allow me to grow the show and continue to get larger and larger guests and continue to bring what's missing in marketing today. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and I'll enjoy the episode. Hello, my friends. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good day, evening, or night, wherever you are. Today, we're going to be talking all things websites, and I imagine some technical marketing stuff. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. I'm good, thank you.
For those who don't know you,
I am.
What do you do?
I'm Jude Wharton. I am one half of Ready Steady Websites. And yeah, I run a web design and branding company. That is what I do.
It's a very interesting space, as we were alluding to while James was helping set up. Do you think your space is going to change in the next 5 years? I'll start there.
I think inevitably a lot of spaces are going to change over the next 5 years. I think we thought it might have changed more than it has done already by now. I think we saw, the rise of AI website builders, and obviously you could get a website out there just like that, absolutely free, content written for you, images put in when you've just said, I want a website for a nutritional therapist based in Hampshire. But in reality, it hasn't happened, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. I think the first is that those small business owners who are completely outside of the tech world, they're not tech savvy, they don't want to deal with it themselves, they don't want to have to think about any of it themselves. They're not wanting to use it. They're not there. They're not ready for that yet. And so they still want people who can be there to help them and support them. And they want copy that's written specifically for them and images that are them working with their clients. And so it hasn't taken off, which I'm very glad about. But I do think that as time goes on, people are going to get more and more used to using AI in lots of different areas of their life. As we go through different generations, people are going to come out of school so much more tech savvy. I've got a 14-year-old son, my eldest son, he's doing work for us this summer, and he is insanely quick and knows what he's doing because he is taught it now, in a way that we weren't. So I came out of school and the web designers weren't a thing, so things move really quickly, obviously. So I think as time goes on, people will just be doing this stuff themselves because it will be so easy for them. But right now, not seeing it affecting us at the moment.
How are you looking at that from a business point of view then?
I think we are using AI. It's great for speeding up coding most of the time. Sometimes, it goes off in its own little world and you're like, I did not ask you to do that. Why have you thrown that in? But I
wanted to add a unicorn onto the page, okay?
Exactly.
So I just like unicorns.
Yeah.
I don't care what your prompt was. I'm going to add a unicorn.
My husband, who is my business partner, he was using it to speed up some code the other day, and then it was going mad in a way that it hadn't done for him before. And he described it so brilliantly as, it's like when you've got a toddler with you and suddenly you look up and this toddler was playing calmly and happily on the floor, but they're at the top of a bookcase pouring paint everywhere, and there wasn't even a bookcase there to start off with. That is what AI is like sometimes. It will just kind of go and do that. And that's reassuring to me at the moment, because it means that Chris, being a coder, he can use it to speed up his code, and he knows when it's gone wrong. Whereas you can't just have any old person using it to create code and do things because they won't know when it's gone wrong and they won't know how to sort it out when it's not working. So that's reassuring for me that it's not there yet. It will be, because the more people who are using it to do this stuff, the more it's learning. But yeah, so we are using it to speed things up. I think we'd be silly not to be keeping an eye on it, not to looking at what's possible with it. But I'm not worried at the moment.
Cool. Where does it's mostly a marketing show. Where does a website sit right now in marketing, do you think?
I think a website's key to sort of being the sort of centre point of where all your marketing's pointed to, really. I think it can be used as a marketing tool in its own right if you've got it working really well from a search engine optimization point of view, and it will just be bringing the traffic to you, especially if you are adding the right content to it regularly, like you're doing stuff like this, but you're putting it on your website as a blog post. You know, you've got those things attracting new people to your website, so it can be sort of part of your outreach marketing. But on the whole, I really see a website as being there as the place that you send all of your outreach stuff to, whether that's you've met people through networking, whether it is you're doing podcasts, you've got your social media content, you've got printed, actual physical marketing materials out there. Because so many people want to see that you are a real, genuine, can be trusted business. And, you know, back in the day when people had offices and shop fronts, that did that for you. Like that was, you were there on the high street and people could see that you were real and genuine. But most businesses don't have that. Your website is a replacement for that. And I've seen various statistics and the percentages vary. But on the whole, it looks like sort of 60 to 70% of people won't consider using a business, even if it's been recommended to them by someone else, unless they can go and actually look at their website, see that their website looks good, is professional, is really representing them very well, and then they feel confident to approach that business to consider working for them, with them. And so I think that's why it's so important. Like your website just gives you that credibility, and it's a really important part of your marketing to actually get people to want to talk to you and consider working with you.
Because I think we're in a social media landscape where I think there's maybe a cohort, maybe a percentage of business owners, maybe newer business owners who just look at it as but I don't need it because I've got a social media strategy, because I'm on Instagram, because I'm on LinkedIn, because I'm on etc, etc, etc. And for me, I think it serves a different purpose, right?
Yeah.
And I think, we touched on AI at the beginning, but I think for me, like traditionally we're looking at Google search, right? How are you seeing the shift to AI search?
It's definitely happening. We've noticed it in our own analytics that we're starting to see more traffic coming from, specifically it was ChatGPT, than was coming from some of our social platforms. So it's definitely happening. I feel like though it's people, I don't think they're putting in, I'm looking for a fantastic web company in Hampshire. I think they're actually going, have you heard about Ready Steady websites? I think they're naming us to find us from the research that we've done. So it's people putting it into ChatGPT.
Do you think it's more of a proof of concept at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's people testing it, putting it into ChatGPT rather than chucking it into Google. And they're just putting the same thing as they would in there. So it's sort of, it's a different way of finding us, but definitely people are using it more. I know people who say that they will ask AI pretty much anything. Like they just want to see what it says, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whichever ones are out there. They just want to, see what it says, see if it like is sort of thinking along the same lines as them, see if it does bring up anything different. And again, it is completely based on what you've been talking to it before. Because when Chris tested it and said, ChatGPT, I'm looking for a web company that can do me a website for around this price, straight away, we recommend Ready Steady websites. They're fantastic. Got one of our business friends to do the same and didn't bring us up at all until he then went, I've heard good things about Ready Steady websites. What do you think of them? And then it came back saying, Ready Steady websites does a good reputation. It has got these reviews. This is its price point, and then did serve up the information. I think at the moment it's just a lot of people testing it, having fun with it, seeing if it brings up the right things. I'm not sure that we're seeing a lot of traffic from people who are just genuinely using it as its only way into.
Because I think there's a couple of ways of looking at it. I did a video a while ago looking at the behaviour psychology from the shift from Google to ChatGPT. Replace the word ChatGPT with Perplexity or etc. But the concept was people were looking at Google and they've tried to leverage it back with Gemini, but Gemini isn't, from when you use a Google term anyway, you're not using the actual bot. Yeah. It's not a chatbot. It will just service a summary of what it believes the top percentage are of answers, which is for some things in a closed question, like is it a yes or a no, or is it the answer this, then yes, that's maybe a good thing. Though I think the reason why we're seeing a behaviour shift towards ChatGPT and AI search as well is actually people want more nuance. They want to target more nuance with so they want to have a conversation with a search engine, really, in crux what they're doing, and that's maybe showing itself as people having ChatGPT conversations. You know, for me personally, I use it a lot for data analytics, data tracking, etc. But I found it does always, which is probably how it's designed in its nuts and bolts, it will always skew slightly more positive than negative. But I also think that's maybe a good thing, to be honest. Actually, now I sit here and think about it, because if it did skew negative, then you're talking about a negative spiral effect, because it will learn from itself and then so on, it will get darker and darker and darker and darker. I think the byproduct of it skewing positive is actually it will maybe over-egg potential results and potential good. But that is, as long as you understand that's what it's doing, I think that's a better reality than the latter, if that makes sense. And I think for people who are maybe looking at their website now, either they've had a website, they may be looking to relaunch a website, they're looking to rebuild, etc., and say that it's 6 months. Should we still be looking to target Google, would you say? Or are we just solely in a world where actually AI search is the only thing that matters?
No, definitely still be targeting Google. Also, I think I always say this, like, have your website, obviously, have it written in a way that you're going to be attracting the right people, that the copy is written for the website visitor that's coming to you. You want to be ranking, obviously, but actually one of the things that will help you rank is by having naturally written copy that is obviously for the website visitor and not purely to try and get yourself ranked, like that's so picked up on now. But also, I have heard from search engine, like Chris is a search engine SEO expert, but from another guy that I do quite a lot of work with and chat to quite a lot, he has said that a lot of AI results, ChatGPT results, come from seeing people's Google business profiles. And so making sure that you've got that there, that is up to date with the right stuff on there, that you're using that frequently, putting new stuff on there as well, will help you come up in the AI results as well. So getting your website solid and obviously linking to that from your Google business profile, but having that profile up to date is really key as well. And I think this is the thing with all areas of marketing. You've got to cover all bases. You don't know where someone is out looking for what you do, whether they are the type of person who is just on socials, chucking something onto Facebook groups and things like that and asking people for recommendations, whether they're going to Google, whether they are going to ChatGPT. You've just got to do it all well to be better than your next competitor, really.
Do you think it's a constant update 1%, update 1%, update 1% to be like, because I think sometimes we get into the like I personally never struggle with this because I've always focused on me v me, but I know that a lot of people have, which is I'm constantly looking at what my competitors are doing. I'm constantly adapting and looking at what if Sally's done this? Oh my God, Nigel's just done this. And I think that's can be quite a dangerous road to walk down.
Yeah, I think you've got to do what you're doing, focus on what you're doing, do it well, and tell people what you're doing well as well. And yeah, I mean, the space that we sit in with Ready Steady websites, with having our templates out there and a do-it-yourself offer out there, obviously that puts us in a similar space to the Wixes and the Squarespaces and the like. we're never competing with them on search engine ranking. We're not putting the money into the ads. We're not on telly. So there's no point in us looking at them and trying to compete. But what they don't have is me and Chris. They don't have those consistent people who are there to support you. And so I feel like we've got to focus on what we do well. And we use the fact that we are the people you will meet, we are the people you work with, that we get out there and we get to know people. And that's the way we choose to do it. We do obviously work hard on our search engine results for the things we know we can rank for. You know, we have specific templates for specific types of businesses. And so if you go and type in speaker website template, we do well for that. If you go and type in membership site website templates, we do well for that, because they're the things that we know there aren't as many people focusing in on that for their search terms, but we also know there are people looking for those things. So I think you've got to keep an eye on what's going on. You've got to look at those keywords. You've got to make sure you're putting the right content out there to rank for those. But yeah, if there are competitors out there doing things like you're seeing them doing this all the time, and you can't do that, you can't keep up with that, or that's just not your way that you would do something, no, stick in your way of doing it. If it's working and you can see you can build on it and do it more, that is the way I would always go.
I think for me, it's about only, I guess to an extent, it's only adding the stuff you can stay sustainably at, 1. 2, it's also, again, focusing on that UVU. Rather than, so I always look at it as where was I a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, and am I moving in the correct trajectory? Maybe I haven't got all the results yet, maybe I haven't got everything that I want yet, or what I'm aiming for yet, but I am moving in that direction. And as long as I continue on the direction I am currently moving, then I will hit that by probability, by analysing probability result there. It'd be wrong of me not to ask you about video and where it sits on your website. Do people need video on their website? Do they not? Should they have it?
I think that video can work really well on a website. But I would say use it in a way that plays to your strengths. Because I really hate it when I go to a website and on the homepage I see that this person's got a video and I can see it's them, they're going to be talking to camera. And I think, oh, cool, okay, let's watch this. And then it's not well scripted, or maybe not even scripted at all, not well thought through. They don't seem confident. And it's just all a bit waffly and a bit awkward. And then you're going, why have you put this on your homepage? Because this is doing nothing for you or your business. And you know they've put it on their homepage because someone told them that they should use video on their website. You can only use video if it's going to be right for you and it's going to work, because it could go completely the other way and make people go, I'm not sure about this, and go and look at someone else's website. We have used video on our website. We had a video on there. We sent to Instructured the way that some of our packages work, and so we have taken it down because it's not current now, and that's another thing. You have to make sure that you're keeping everything current and up to date. And that was more of a animated sort of explain your process of how to work with Ready Steady websites. And we were quite surprised actually that it didn't get as many people watching it as we thought. We really thought that more people would watch the video on the website than choose to read it. But actually, there wasn't as high a percentage when we went and looked at sort of the views and the people who had come to the website in the same period of time. There wasn't as high a percentage of people watched it as we thought there might be. So I think it really depends. I think it's one of those things of try it. Just try it and see if it's working. We use video a lot in our business. We use it a lot in our tutorials to help people with using our templates. We have welcome videos when people join Ready Steady websites. When they initially come into our back-end membership site, there's a little welcome video from us. We use video a lot with our clients, like handover videos when their website's ready. Video is so useful, and it's such a good way to really feel like you've engaged with that person. They've got to know you. It's so easy to explain things in that way. So I think with video is really valuable. We've got a YouTube channel, which we are not doing enough with at all at the moment. And I know that we are going to do more after the summer. And yeah, it's such a good way to showcase your knowledge, showcase the way that you work, get people to get to know you, but only if you are comfortable doing it, I think. And that's something you can practice. You can get better with it over time. And I think social media, people expect the videos to be slightly more raw. And I think you can use video to get more comfortable using it on social media. And then once you are in a position you feel more confident, can get it more polished, that's when you can stick a video on your website, I think. And until then, get an animator to do like an animated video for you with you doing a voiceover. Or even if you're not confident with that, there are fantastic voice actors out there who could do a voiceover for you. There are so many ways you can do video without putting yourself in it looking a bit like you don't want to be on video.
Do you think, I mean, my next question was going to be like, when and how do you think you should spend money on production? Like upping the quality? Is it for that perception of when someone hits the website?
I think, yeah, I definitely think it's worth having a professional quality video on your website. If you think about the fact that you've probably got someone to help you create your website at the least, if not got someone to create it for you. So you've paid for that. You've got a professional website. You have hopefully invested in brand photography or product photography. If you've got products in your business, you know, all your photos are looking great on there. You've got your content written in a way that you're happy with, whether you've used a content writer or you've done it yourself. And then you just go and shove a video of you sort of in a dark corner of your office, bumbling away about nothing in particular for about 5 minutes. And then you're like, I'm not really sure why I watched that. That just takes away from everything else that you've invested in and that you've done. So yeah, I definitely, and especially as, I don't know if people have a perception that to get a professional looking video, they are going to have to pay thousands and thousands. There are so many places now, we are sitting in one of them, where you can go and get a video created that, you know, is filmed using good quality cameras, good quality mics, proper lighting, in a nice background. Go and just pay for an hour in a room like that and get someone who knows what they're doing to help you. And it's not a lot of money. Like, I'm sure business owners would drop the same amount of money on belonging to a networking group or something like that without even thinking about it more in a year of belonging to a networking group. And once you've got all those fantastic people you've met on networking coming to your website, it'd be good to have something decent there to make them realise you're definitely the person to work with.
I think for me, it's understanding what stage you're in. Right? I still film stuff on my phone, right? But if I'm doing a production piece like this, people expect a certain level of quality, I would say, personally, for me. And also, I want a level of a certain quality for this kind of thing. But if I've got a thought, pick up my phone and film.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not against doing it. I think that's where sometimes people get it wrong. They think, I can't do video because I don't have X camera, I don't have X, Y lighting, I don't, etc. But I think action is always better than perfect in that respect. I think for me, because then you can gain the understanding of what your audience wants. But I think where it changes is that heading video that we're talking about here. Like I was served an ad on YouTube a handful of weeks ago, and it was like, hello, I'm this person from this company, filmed on a webcam with dodgy audio. And I just clicked off straight away. Yeah. And it wasn't even necessarily the delivery. It was actually the I think for me, now I sit back and go, well, why did I click off? Why did I not engage? I think actually the reason was because of the combination of it was a webcam video with dodgy audio and there was no hook. I was like, in no possible, I don't give a shit who you are. Yeah. You could have made £1 million and I'm not, just don't care. So I think, you know, even if you just do some basic research and understand how to structure a video, I've got videos talking about it. James has got videos talking about it. There's lots online, etc. Right? I think for me, if you use your phone and you have a decent audio, which is the only thing I would say that actually really matters, because if I can't hear you or I can't hear you clearly, then I'm going to click away. Psychology-wise, I'm going to. I will go, okay, maybe it doesn't look beautiful, isn't as high quality as I would want. Okay, fine. But actually, the energy, how I sound, and then the structure, and then the value that's delivered in the video is infinitely more important. Is that the same when it comes to websites and copy?
So I think...
And how you structure your website as a whole?
I think, yeah, structuring your website is really important. So with the whole like DIY videos, selfies, all that stuff, I am there on social media with that. And I think that is important for getting people to like you. Like, I don't think you should turn up too polished. I actually was scrolling through my LinkedIn this morning trying to find some stuff I'd written ready for this interview to remind myself of some stuff. And my biggest performing like posts on LinkedIn are all selfies or photos of me doing something mainly not related to the business, because people go, oh, like I resonate with that, I do that too, or like I've been there, or whatever it is. And so they like that works on social media. When it comes to your website, and your website is reflecting either you very much as the business person, the professional, the author, the speaker, you know, if it is a more of a personal focused website, or it is your business website and reflecting your business, I feel that has to step up a level then. You've done the nice getting to know people, the like, I am a nice normal person bit on social media. Yeah, filming yourself with messy hair at a beach, having a chat because something's coming to your head. One thing I really would say, if you're doing videos on social media, please put captions on. I'm always reading them in the evening when I've got one child in bed and I'm just having a scroll. I don't want to turn the sound up. Put captions on, people. Anyway, so yeah. But then when they get to your website, yeah, that's a different level. And yeah, you do really need to think about the structure of it. And it's very much the same. Like you said with the videos, you want a hook, you want a reason to keep watching them. It's the same with your website. I always say in that top hero area on the homepage of your website, you want to have, I call it an engaging statement. But it's the hook. It's the thing that someone comes to your website and goes, I am in the right place. So I want to scroll down and I want to read more. In those first couple of lines and that first statement, you need to basically say, this is what I do. This is who I do it with or for. And so therefore I can help you. That is what those couple of lines have got to say. So yes, it has to be structured really well. And then it's got to carry on talking to that website visitor. So many people then decide that the first bit of their homepage suddenly has become their about page, and they launch into this story of like, oh, I decided to start my business because my grandfather had done it before me, and no one cares at this point. People still want to see your services or an overview of your products or whatever they have come to your website for. And then if they click on your about page, that's them saying, oh, actually, I'm really interested now and I'd love to know why you started the business and who you are. Put that on there. So yeah, it's definitely a structure to follow, definitely a right way of doing it to get people in and really wanting to buy from you or work from you. And yeah, it's got to be that at that professional level then. The DIY selfie in the garden approach, not great for a website.
I think, again, it's what do you want to put your first foot forward with, right? Especially when it's like, it might be said by Google, it might be said by AI, and this is your first time of meeting that business.
Yeah.
I guess then it questions of like, from us as a smaller business, not necessarily implying small, but smaller than the Squarespaces, etc.
Yeah.
Do we lean into personal brand, do you think?
I think, there's so many factors there. I think if you are a smaller business, it's really good to have a personal presence out there, definitely, because I'd say quite often you're out networking, so people are going to meet you in person. You are probably on LinkedIn talking about all of like the stuff that you're going about and doing and what your business is doing. So I think you're naturally going to have a personal presence, but then, and I am very much that person. I'm out there networking all the time. I am the one doing that for our business. But when you go to the Ready Steady website, it is a business website. There, is an about page and there is a team page, and we are on there, and our sense of humour is definitely on there, and we carry that through like the way that we are on social media. It's very much on. Someone commented that to me the other day, that she loved the fact our personality was there in the website once you looked for it, but actually the website was, this is what we offer, these are our prices, this is what you get, really clear and simple, and all about the person who's looking for the website or the branding or the SEO package and all the other things we do. So yeah, I think a personal brand is important, but I think how you present that on your website very much depends on, how the business is structured, where you're looking to take the business in the future as well, and that's a question right at the start when you're starting your business too. And obviously you can evolve, like we trade under Ready Steady Websites now. We initially set up as Second Floor Designs Limited, and our business has evolved over the 15 years. And that can happen. You can start out as, enter your name here, and then what you do. So, we have people who are Joe Blogs Nutritional Therapy, that kind of thing. But actually maybe over time you're getting more and more patients and you bring on more people to work with you, and then it turns into just JB Nutritional Therapy. It can evolve. And I think whether you go out as a personal brand really just depends on like your vision for the business, where you're taking it, and how comfortable you are with that as well. Like some people don't want to put themselves front and center. They're very good at what they do. They want to do it under their own steam. They don't want to go and work for somebody. But actually, they're not this person. They're not out there doing the podcast interviews. It's not them. They actually they want to be a business and they don't want to be front and center. And I think that's fine as well. If you can find the right way to get it out there, to get your like seen and marketed, then that's great. But I think it's like with the videos, you've got to be comfortable to do a really good video. You've got to be comfortable putting yourself out there as a sort of personal brand, I think.
I think for me, and I had this conversation many years ago and I've had it 1,000 times since, like a CEO of a C-suite company, doesn't matter who he was, but he was like, I don't want my kids involved in content. I don't want them physically involved in content. I don't even want people to know they even exist. I'm like, cool, no worries. He was like, how are we going to make sure that happens? I was like, do you have control over your mouth? I said, yes. He said, yes. I said, congratulations. You will not talk about your children, their existence, or anything about them in any way, shape, or form then.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes and that's why I always phrase it that way, because I think so many people, we sit and go, I have to be really public and I have to be this, I have to be that. It's like, yeah, but we forget we have control over what we say in every moment. And especially if you're post-editing it, even if we have a conversation or the conversation ends up going into a realm that you feel is inappropriate, I feel is inappropriate, or we don't feel comfortable having out live, then you just ask, would it be impossible to remove that section? Yeah. Or I just feel actually that's just a tangent that's not really relevant, so I might chop it from the set, etc. But it's doing it for a place of comfort. Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, everything I talk about publicly is everything I talk about publicly. I don't talk about the challenges I'm going through today or the things I'm hearing from today or whatever if I am, because that's not appropriate and I'm not ready for it. But I can talk about it in hindsight, right? And in the same way, like, if you don't want the ability or the fact that you have children to be known, then don't mention it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
It is.
And I think, which I get, right? Like, I'd be like, no, but also, what's it got to do with business? What's that got to do with business? Now, you could make the argument, but it humanises you and yeah, but you made that you have to make that decision. Yeah. Yeah. No one else is going to make that decision for you. And it's important to make sure that everything you put out is A, relevant to the business, but 2, is in your... And I use the term comfort zone loosely here because it's not about whether it's like comfortable, but it's whether it's within line with your values, I think is the more important thing, right? It's not about always uncomfortable, because I think we should push ourselves for a level of uncomfortability to do things that we're not comfortable with. But that's different to, no, I just don't want, in the kids example. What do you think is missing in marketing right now? What do you think people could be doing, should be doing, that they're maybe not doing?
Oh, that is a good question. I think the thing I see people like, so we're looking at very small businesses here. The thing they are missing in marketing is consistency, which I think can be really, really key. I think there's people who think, well, I put this out there and therefore, everyone will know about it now because I mentioned it once. So I've marketed that, and that doesn't work. Like, there's so much out there. Like, people, the term, like, so much noise that people are having to deal with, whether that's visual or audio. But there's so much out there, and people aren't consistent with it. So I think that being consistent in whatever form of marketing you're choosing. So whether you are using social media, whether you are doing email marketing and putting emails out there, whether you are, putting out flyers places, you're doing some actual like putting up posters and that kind of thing. You have to be consistent with it. You have to be doing it in a range of places. And I think people feel like, well, I don't want to bother people. I don't want people to get bored of me because they're hearing it so much. And you have to do it an awful lot for people to be hearing it so much they're getting bored of you. And I think that is one of the key things that I think people are missing. I think in marketing in general, what's missing, I suppose, perhaps I'm seeing so much of the personal stuff. It might actually be nice to see actual more businessy marketing. I wonder if that would actually catch my eye more these days. Like, rather than people out there doing all the talking about themselves and like, oh, I've been here and I've been there and this, that and the other. But actually, I don't see that many people putting out from business perspective, this is what we achieved this week. This is what we did this week. This is actually what a proper week working with a client looks like. Or this is actually, these are all the testimonials I got in 1 week. And I don't know if that's because it's a bit braggy, isn't it? If you get lots of testimonials all telling you you're lovely. But actually, that's what's going to make people really want to work with you. If they go, wow, they put that many sites live this week and that many people said that stuff about them. I actually don't see that much these days. And I am bad at doing it myself. I know I am.
Is that because it's easier for you to talking as you're walking down the beach, or
of course it's so much easier,
or
just
when you're in the garden, or etc.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's easier from a couple of perspectives. One, that takes no preparation. Just going, quick selfie, talk about this that I did here. Whereas if you want to put out okay, this website went live this week, we got this testimonial, I've got to sit there and make that look nice in a visual before I stick it on social media. And, if it's a busy week, I'm not taking the time to do that. And I know I should. And I think that is a key thing, that doing it well always takes time. And we all have a finite amount of time. And if we are busy in our business, obviously, we've got to make sure those deadlines are hit, those clients get their websites, that the support tickets are responded to, the site that went down because the server got overloaded is put back up again. We're doing all that stuff that we actually have to do as the actual stuff in our business that pays the bills. And then we've got to go, oh, do you know what? Yeah, testimonials, do this next week. And then, oh, look, next week came and went, still going to do them next week. And actually, I think, and this is something that's clicking in my head right now while I'm talking to you, that, you know what? Some of that might stand out a bit more because people aren't doing it as much. It won't be the stuff that gets the likes and the shares and the comments on social media. There'll be those 5 nice people who are always lovely on every post and go, oh, that's so nice that you got such a lovely testimonial. Well done, Jude. And I love those people for taking the time to do that. But it won't start the discussion. It won't be those posts that go mad. But actually, they're the posts that when people are scrolling through your posts, that really solidify what it is you actually do, that actually she doesn't just work out in the garage and try and grow vegetables in her garden. She does actually do websites.
Do you think, I've just filmed Gemma's one, and we talked about the fact that some marketing agencies that I've seen in my lifetime are what I would call fall into the classic trap, in my view, that when they're busy with work, their marketing kind of shuts off, or they stop as much as they maybe should, either completely or as much as they should. Or then they only turn it back on when they need work again.
Yeah.
Something that I've always done for as long as the business has existed is Brunton Media is the highest paying client, period. It's not the most priority, but the reason why I always frame it as the highest paying client is it means it's the amount of resource, energy and time that it consistently gets. Yeah. Because regardless of how well I do my job for clients, if I'm growing, there will be a point where we don't work together anymore. Yeah. And I need a strong pipeline to stay in business. Absolutely. Right? So I need to constantly be going. If you're just looking at project work, I've pivoted the business slightly so it's retainer-based and project work. But if you're just looking at project work, you need project. And it might feel overwhelming as you're starting to put them in. But then I'm just like, just be honest with your client and say, well, what's your delivery timeline on this? Yeah. Because if you don't have the availability to film, edit and produce it, for example, in my case, then don't commit to doing that in the month you can do it. Say, that's a really cool idea. Is it time sensitive right now? Because if not, I can do it in September at the time of filming. This will probably be out in October, but like the same is true. I can do it the following month in November, for example. And I think sometimes with that mindset is why I'm always on top of marketing. Right, and why I'm always constantly looking at my 1% on my marketing, but also then taking the learnings into my client delivery stuff and saying, well, actually, these hooks are working really well for me. Have we thought about doing something similar for you? Is that common?
Oh, it's so common. And I think,
and if so, how do we fix it? How does a business? Is it just you just got to work the hours?
You just
sometimes,
and you've got to prioritize it. So I think, like you said, people will get a project in and they'll be so desperate to please that client and go, oh yeah, well I can deliver that in 5 weeks. But to deliver that in 5 weeks, they will no longer rock up to any networking and they will no longer post consistently on social media. And yeah, absolutely, there's no way they're creating any nice social like graphics to put out any testimonials, anything like that. It's all going to go because they've promised the client it'll be delivered in 5 weeks. Where actually, if they said to the client, is 7 weeks all right? Then realistically, they could still fit in their 3 networking meetings in that time. And they could still have prioritised their marketing posts and whatever else they do for their marketing. And the client would probably still have said yes. And let's not forget that actually, clients will probably respect you more if you can't just go like that and deliver a project, because then they go, oh, well, they're busy, they must be good, rather than they can turn that around very quickly, probably haven't got anything else on, is that a concern? So it's definitely, and I think if you have been in the feast and famine cycle of like project, nothing, project, you are more panicked to definitely make sure that you get that client, and then you probably do overpromise, and actually you would have been fine. Because if you start saying we're 7 weeks all right and they go, well, really, can we do 6? Then okay, you can do 6 and maybe one of the networking meetings goes or whatever. But it's just, I see it a lot. I do see people like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to be coming to the networking meeting this week because I'm so busy, I've got to fit this in before a deadline. And then you're like, well, if the deadline's approaching, like, have you got stuff coming after that? Or would actually have going to this networking meeting being a good idea because maybe there was someone there thinking about chatting to you this time because they've got to know you a bit. And so, we do see it a lot. And it's one of the things that we're very careful not to do. And it's easier for us, like there's 2 of us running the business. We have freelancers and things when we need as well. And so I am always focused. It's me mainly. Chris does do some of the networking, but I am very much focused. And like for me, it's the school summer holidays now. And like my focus very much is on the children in this time. But I think I was very much, you offered me to do this, and I was like, yeah, I'll make time to do that, because again, that's something, it's very easy to drop the things you don't have to do at this period of time, but then in November when there's not as many new people coming in, it's like, well, do you know what, if I'd have done that and gone to all of this in August, probably wouldn't have had this sort of drier patch now. So I'm here, and I've made sure I've prioritised a couple of networking meetings next week, and I make sure it keeps going, and because it has to, because we are small business owners, and that is how we get our business.
I think for me it's key, and I've always been in the world of I'm going to bank content for as long as I can, especially I call it my bloodline of my business now, because we met through networking originally, but I since then have pulled back on networking. And that's not because networking doesn't work. It's because I found I was trying to do content, do that really well, trying to do ads, trying to do that really well, trying to do client delivery, trying to do that really well, trying to do networking, trying to do that really well. And what I was finding was I was doing all of them unoptimally or badly. Yeah. So I said, right, scrap everything. What do I actually want to spend my hours doing when I'm not working for clients? And then I was like, okay, well, actually, I really love enjoying creating content, having conversations on camera, etc. Cool. Okay, what's the byproduct of that? The byproduct of that is I become better at my craft. I become better as an interviewer, which in turn means when I'm doing interview content for clients, I'm even better. So it's a compounding effect across that board. But also I can then make sure that I'm consistent. So as we're discussing now, it's the middle of the summer holidays, but this won't be out until probably closer to October. And it's like, actually, I can have a really busy, I'm expecting September to be really busy because of the natural progression where you have a month where people are really focused on family and but then they're like, shit, I've actually got business stuff to do. And in September, that's normally what happens. So I'm actually prepping it as a perspective. I probably won't be filming much in regards to podcast my own content in September, but that won't matter because of how much content ahead I am. So then when it comes back around to it come October, I can then go back to filming, say, 5-6 episodes a month, or maybe 8 episodes a month, and then I'm good till December again, and etc. And I think once you understand that principle, once you can kind of get there with either your blog writing or etc., then you can be in a position where you don't need to worry about consistency. Like, I'm not worried, oh my God, what am I going to post? Then the question becomes, what could I post or what should I post? And it removes all the pressure. Do you, like, how consistently should someone be writing a blog on a website then? Let's focus back in on websites.
So we say it's really good if you can do it once a month as a minimum. Like, to have that new content going on your website
less
once
is
a
more
month.
in that respect?
I think, well, I mean, I used to write posts weekly for Ready Steady websites. People told me that they loved that they did go and read the blog post every week. And I maintained that for a good few years. But that's a lot of content. And I got to the point where I really felt like we were getting busier. And actually, if I had a post once a month, I could still pull bits out of that for social posts throughout the month. So I'm still putting stuff out there, sending people to the website, to a blog post. I could still pull different bits out of it for our newsletter, which is weekly. And Google likes to see something new on your website every month. Like, it just reminds Google that you're there. Something new's gone on there. It's something new for Google to index. And so, yeah, so that's why we say once a month. And that is what I do now, because, yeah, once a week got a lot. And I will like batch. So like you said, like I've said, it's the summer holidays. I don't want to be doing as much during the summer holidays. So I had blog posts and social media posts already at the start of July for July, August, and the first couple of weeks of September. And my email newsletter as well, all scheduled, all ready to go, sorted. And I think it feels like that's a lot, but actually that took me not even 2 days to write the emails for every week, 3 blog posts, and I haven't written the social posts fully because I do like to be more reactive on social media, but I've written like probably 2 for each week, like full, solid, good posts that are more business related. And then I can put in my fluff of like, sat in a school field today and did this type thing. And yeah, so it can be kind of a mixture. But it doesn't take long to do it, to schedule it. Like you said, like I know you've obviously booked this room today, you're blocking your podcasts, and that's months worth of content. And it's easy to do if you organise your time right to do it. And I think it feels big for people who just aren't used to doing it. And the people who say to me, I'm not building an email list because I don't have anything to say to them. It's like, you've got so much to say. I am one for quite long emails. I talk a lot. I will write a lot as much as I talk. But actually, over the summer, they're shorter and sweeter. I've got a little thing going on of like a website tip a week. It's a short paragraph, but it's something actionable, useful for those people on our email list, relevant to them because they're all there, because they've come to us for some website reason, whether they've got a website with us already and should be reminded to just go and check that everything's still current and up to date and maybe make a tweak, or whether they're planning a new one and thinking of coming to us. Those tips are relevant to both. Happy days, email sorted. It's not hard. I mean, we have blog posts on ideas for your website, for your email newsletter, obviously. Got a blog post and everything pretty much on our website. So, yeah, but I think, once a month is a good one.
Is there a pros and cons if you're, let's say, for example, you're in my position where you have a huge amount of video content and that's your feeder? Because I'm throwing around the idea for the new website that is going to be built by the time this episode comes out. There we go.
Said it now. It's
it
got
will
to
have to be out now. It'll have to happen. I'm throwing around the idea, do I, because it's a time investment and it's also how I come across. I think I come across better on like this video, right? But for me, I'm aware that for AI search and SEO, I need to be writing stuff.
Yeah.
Now, do I need to be writing stuff? Do I need to hire a copywriter if the business can afford to do so? Or can I potentially leverage automation and or ChatGPT, etc., to write in my style, and or what are the pros and cons for all the above?
So I think...
Would you say?
So for you...
And this is a dirtily selfish fucking answer.
So for you, as someone who has got video content, that is your content, I'd use that for your website. So I would have, like, whether you want to embed it from YouTube, wherever you're going to have it, onto your website. And then I would have... like notes of what's discussed, key points, which there are so many tools that will do that for you, that will draw it out. But I would say that if you're using a tool like that, you need to then go and sense check it, look through it yourself, make sure it does sound like you, tweak it, make it your own. Don't just use it verbatim from the tools that have pulled it out. So from that kind of content where you're repurposing a video and turning it into a vlog essentially on your website with notes, I think that's absolutely fine. If you then wanted actually to do some actual blog posts as well, I personally think I like the approach of giving it a go yourself, so that it is really what you would be saying and like the points you want to make. If you then read it and think, this isn't good enough, this isn't my forte, this isn't like my strength, then I personally would get a copywriter involved to help you. Like, there are people out there who will help you to craft kind of what you've already started, improve it, write it in a way that they know is going to be nice and readable, but also is going to be great for getting some key terms in there that people are going to be searching for what you do. I don't like it when I see blog posts that I can tell have been written by AI, you know, and people have written guest blog posts for me and sent them to me, and I've gone, this is obviously, they've used AI to help them write this. I will then go in and tweak those. I will take out the EM dashes, which, you know, are an actual like staple of punctuation in America, but we tend not to use it over here. So it's quite telling when I get an English person sending me a blog post with a load of them in. So I will tweak those because I don't want them on our website. There are people saying that AI copy doesn't work as well from a search engine point of view, that like it's penalised. I don't know how truthful that is. It's hard to tell really, because, you know, we're still relatively in the early days of it being put on websites and things. The problem is that if you go, AI wrote me a blog post on this, if someone else is putting exactly the same request to ChatGPT as well, they could have they won't be exactly the same, because we know that ChatGPT will learn from the conversations you've previously had and will have it sort of tailored to you, but there'll be some of the same stuff in there, and I want to feel like what's on our website is genuinely unique and different. Someone's going to come and read something on our website and they're not going to go and read virtually exactly the same on someone else's. Obviously, people are giving similar tips to us. Like, none of what we are saying on our Ready Steady Websites blog is rocket science. It's tips around your website. You know, there are many people out there doing that, and a lot of us will be preaching the same best practice. But I write all our blog posts that are not guest blog posts, and I very much do it as me. And I know there's a copywriter I know well who says, you can always, it's me. He says, from your emails to your blog to your LinkedIn posts, it's so you. And I think that's important, personally. So I wouldn't, apart from, like I said, drawing out some show notes from a podcast, yeah, use a tool to help you do that. It'd be silly to sit there listening to the whole thing, making notes. That's ridiculous. But if you're going for something that is sort of separate content in its own right, I still would prefer it that people really put themselves into it than the robots.
Is there a world where you can do both?
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, I know that I've got a lot of business friends who like are dyslexic, and for them, like even sitting there and trying to start something is hard. Like I said, it's good to start from your own point of view and get someone to help you with it. So yeah, using it as a tool to kick you off, I think is all right. Again, as long as it is very much, then it becomes yours. I think I really don't like the idea of creativity being lost. And I don't like the idea of people getting lazy from a creative point of view. I think AI is great if it can help you with the really practical things. Like I said, like Chris uses it for coding, which you could say is a creative thing in its own right, and it is in many ways, but it's functional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's
I think it's whether it's grunt work or not, in my view, right? Yeah. And I think the key of what we're talking about here is in Crux is the cognitive ability of being able to critically think. Yeah. So for me, I'll give you an example that I've probably used on other podcasts. Apologies if I have, but for me, I'm now basically solely only reading a physical book out of principle, because I'm aware that I'm utilizing AI in tech, and I want to balance the cognitive ability that I'm losing through using AI, but I'm gaining efficiency, but I still want the cognitive ability to be able to think and get creative ideas, etc. But I'm also leaning into like, let's do more stuff in person because I think the energy is better where possible, etc., etc., etc. And I think there's the conversation will flow better, so on, in that respect. And I think it's actually, to an extent, you can utilize both sides of the world as long as you're aware of the caveats.
Yeah.
Is obviously I think what we're touching on here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I had a brief conversation in comments on LinkedIn the other day with somebody who said, you know, do you use AI for writing blog posts? Do you ask it its opinion for things? Like, do you get it to do it? And I said, you know, to a certain extent, but I'm really concerned that people will stop using their brains. But like you said, if you're aware of the fact that you're using AI for certain things and you go, do you know what, I do need this to keep working, I can't just let this computer think for me the whole time, then that's great. And I think there is that balance there, and that's good.
But I'm letting AI do the day-to-day stuff. I wouldn't really find that hard or challenging to think for me. So I have freed up capacity and then the ability to think longer term problem solving, larger scope problem solving, longer term business challenge, growth challenge, so on, for clients and me. And I think for me, that's potentially where the people who are utilizing AI correct will rise to the top. Yes. Because I think, and there was this kind of AI is going to take our jobs-esque, the world's over kind of principle, I guess. I've been of the view that it's a tool. Right, and that's why I use the analogy of sharpen the knife and then use the knife yourself. So you're using AI to sharpen your knife, and then you're using it to cut up whatever you're cutting up, etc. And that allows you to then move forward. Yeah. That allows you to be more efficient, and that's kind of the, I'm going to work smart and hard simultaneously thing, because it's not just about. It is a level of, because I was like, in my head whenever I look at content, I'm going quality or quantity, but actually you need both to be able to understand data, to be able to then work out what the market thinks is valuable. Because I suppose it doesn't matter what you think is valuable. Yeah. It's what the market thinks is valuable. And the only way you're going to get there is through a level of quality at volume, in my view, at least. Because then you have, like, this video got 300 views, this video got 1,000. What's the difference, for example? You know, in that respect. But for those who've maybe really connected with this conversation, you know, really enjoyed it, or maybe they just want to check out what you guys are doing, where's best for people to reach out? Where's people to connect with you?
Well, our website. It's got to be the answer I give, really. So our website, readysteadywebsites.com. If they want to have a chat, they can book a call there. But we are on socials. We are Ready Steady Websites on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And I am Jude Wharton on LinkedIn if people want to connect.
And I'd like to end the episode by asking you to give advice to your younger self. So 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, what advice would you give to that person?
I'm going to keep it on a marketing theme. Like, we started our business 15 years ago, and I wish right then we'd started to build an email list. We didn't start doing it for about 5 years. And once we built our email list, that was when the consistency of work coming in massively picked up, because those people were there and we were talking to them every week and they were getting to know us, like us, really understand what we could do for them. And then they started coming to us consistently. So yeah, absolutely, I'd have built an email list much sooner. So that's my marketing, if I could go back and tell myself.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for the time. And if you did enjoy this video and would like to see more like it, then I'll be back next week with a brand new interview talking about all things marketing, what you can be doing and where and what we're potentially missing as well, which I think is a really important part of what I'm doing here. So thank you ever so much for coming back and joining me once again. And if you would love to hear what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you very, very soon.